Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you, whenever I see people take mugshots and they do stuff like this, I tend to think that those people just have issues. And I know a lot of times we want to blame it on mental illness and say that that is the prevailing cause of why this person did something. But here's my thing. I just don't think that we can continue to use that as an excuse because we use it too many times, especially when people are accused and convicted of abusing and murdering children. And I believe that has to stop by any means. So if it means that you have to punish people, even though they might have some mental issues going on, I don't think that they should get lessened charges because that's what they're qualified as, is having issues. Matter of fact, I think that actually should give them more time in prison. This story is going to have some details that are not going to sit well with your sensibilities, and my commentary might bother you as well. But that's your disclaimer if you need to exit the video. But this story comes out of Wyoming, Michigan, and a Wyoming man has been charged with murder after allegedly shooting his 2-year-old daughter and then turned the gun on himself. Wyoming police said Senita, whatever his name is, Seninta. That's a very unique name. I have never even heard a name like this before. Senita Parker is 26 years old, and he was arraigned from his hospital bed Friday on charges of open murder, discharging a firearm in a building causing death, and being a felon in possession of a firearm, and 2 counts of felony firearm. 2 things that really stood out to me. First and foremost, he's being arraigned because he did not successfully end his own life. I always find that weird when people have the strength and the courage to murder other people, but when it comes to them doing it to themselves, they can never finish the job, right? Second thing, he was already a criminal with a criminal record. He was a felon in possession of a firearm. So if you guys didn't catch it already, here's what you'd have to ask yourself. How in the hell did he get access to this 2-year-old little girl? Would you guys like to hear the story? Well, like to hear it, here it go. The shooting that killed 2-year-old Colindres Brewer, who is this beautiful smiling princess that you guys see right there on my screen. Beautiful little girl. This happened at a home on Meyer Avenue between Porter and 28th Street in Wyoming. Colindres' mom, by the name of Cambria Brewer, told News 8, and I'm getting this from WOODTV.com, so thank you for the article, that she dropped her daughter off at Park's apartment on Monday for a visit and was planning to pick her up Wednesday evening. But before that could happen, police say that Park shot and killed the girl and then shot himself. If you ask me, this sounds like #mom's boyfriend. I'm not sure that he's the biological father of this kid. Matter of fact, I'm going to say I don't think he is. But here's what I always find strange, and I say this in a lot of different stories. And for some of y'all, this might piss you off. And yes, this is a Thug Lion story. We'll get there. We'll get there. I always find it strange in our current society, and it's not all women. I know we got a lot of beautiful, good mothers and women and parents out there who wouldn't do something like this. But I always find it strange when we have a lot of different cases where these mothers won't let the biological father see their children. They'll put the biological fathers through hell and high water to see their kids, force them to take them to court, run them through the ringer, having to pay for lawyer fees and missing work and all type of stuff. They got to go through hell to even text or talk on the phone. But anytime these boyfriends get with these women, they get unmolested access, no pun intended, to these kids. Isn't that something? They can see these kids anytime they want to. They can be around these kids anytime they want to. And they're never questioned around being with these kids. Moms will use them as babysitters. And then they will sit there and use these men for the pleasure that these felons provide. I always find it crazy when these mothers decide to take these children to the thug zoo to go play with the thug lion, and then they're always surprised when the thug lion murders and mauls their children to death. It's always this sad story. We feel bad for the mom. But here's my thing. Why should we feel bad for the mom? Why? For what? You made a conscious choice to put your child in this danger. Am I right or am I wrong? You can't say that love is blind, love blinded you, and you had no idea, y'all, that this was going to happen, y'all. When a simple, free background check, even if you have to pay for it. Hell, y'all pay more for these Birkin bags and Gucci shoes and Louis Vuitton and your weaves and your makeup. You will pay inordinate prices for that, but you will not pay a price to do a background check on the man that you are going to trust around your child, in which you say that you would do anything for, right? You do anything for this baby. I love her. I would give my last breath for her, but you wouldn't give a few dollars to do a background check to check on a man that should have never been around your child. That is insanity, to know what you are accused of and be smiling in one of your mugshots. Let me tell you more about the story. This man was hospitalized and he is expected to survive. Good, because I want him to face the fullest extent of the law on this. On Thursday, the Wyoming Department of Public Safety would not discuss what led up to the shooting or a possible motive, though the police chief said it was not an accident. And I actually have an idea about what I believe what happened. Two scenarios. So y'all just remind me, I have two possible scenarios, because of course they're not going to tell us, but I think I know what happened. Okay? A paternity test confirmed. Oh, wow. Okay. So check this out. A paternity test confirmed that Parks was the father of the girl. So this was his baby. Here's what you would also have to ask as far as a motive. That actually just added even more to it. Was there ever a question as to who the father was? If that was, that's usually a very emotional thing that a mother and father go through, to not know who slept with who cheated on who, and whose baby this is. That's a very emotional thing to go to. It doesn't make this any more right that you had an emotional outburst and a reaction like this. Nonetheless, he's the father. A judge ordered that he pay $167 a month in child support in December. Uh-oh. Oh boy. Brewer said that he was upset about that, but not enough to make her worried about Khaleesi's safety. I have to admonish the mother. Do y'all know what admonish means? I have to admonish the mother just for a moment. They say they don't know what the motive was, but then they turn around and tell us exactly what the motive was. The father was upset about having to pay child support. Why would a father be upset about paying child support? Let's think. Because that means that raising the child is no longer between the mother and the father. It is now between the father and the state and the mother. So you have two people against one. That's first and foremost. So whatever job he has or don't have, I don't know if he had a job or not. Maybe I better not assume about that. But whatever terrestrial job that he gets, they're going to take that out of his paycheck. Now, granted, we could always look at these amounts, whether it's $167 a month or $1,600 a month or $16,000 a month. The thing that I find crazy about child support is that there's no cap on it, number one. And number two, there is no consistent basis on which it's based on. Like you just pick a number. And then you're required to pay this to the state, and then the state takes a commission off of every dollar that they collect. So in turn, they're actually getting money off of this as well. So it's a business for them. They're not doing what's in the best interest of these children, right? Which is why we're the AFC. We advocate for children first. That is not in the best interest of children. Not only that, if he does not make his child support payments, what could happen to him? What is he subjugated to? Losing his license, losing his driving privileges, potentially losing his property or vehicle. If he has some type of business license, he could lose that, and he could also go to jail. For people who might not understand that, that is a ton of pressure on any man or any father to be subjected to this. Now, granted, most of us, including myself, understand the way that that works, and we do what we can to just try to make it through it. But what I'm saying is that's a freaking motive. That's it. It's not right or wrong. It's just a motive. So now we know probably what escalated this. Parks was on parole after his release from prison on a 2012 armed robbery conviction. He also has a history of weapons violation and domestic violence. And that was very easy to find that on his public record. So that means you either knew he had a criminal record since he was on, what they say, he was on parole. So when you're on parole, what are you required to do? You're required to tell your parole officer where you're going to be living and where you're going to be working, right? And then they have to verify it. So if you're going to be living with the baby mom or living with your mom or whatever it is, whoever you're living with is more than likely going to know that you're on parole. Know that you just got out of jail, even if you did not know. A simple background check would have told you that, which means if you have these armed robbery convictions and violence and things like the domestic violence on your record, that means that you haven't proven yourself to be a suitable person to be around children. Right or wrong? If you ask me, if you have this rap sheet of these long things, that means you are not fit to be around kids. It doesn't mean you can't change, but it does mean that that should be held against you until you prove yourself otherwise. Now, at his arraignment on Friday, a judge denied his bond, and I think that was the right choice. The Kent County Sheriff's Office is now responsible for guarding him at the hospital. His next scheduled appearance is February 23rd, which was 5 days ago, for a probable cause hearing, and then on March the 2nd, which is here in 2 days from today, for a preliminary hearing to determine if he will stand trial. If convicted of the murder or the shooting causes death charges, he faces life in prison. Now, they did list this as a correction. A previous version of this article incorrectly said that the suspect had been previously charged with sexual assault. It was actually a domestic violence charge. So if you guys heard about that, if you looked it up, then that was actually inaccurate. And that's actually a picture of one of the bullet holes that was in that house, which is just a wild thing. Let me give you guys the fair usage, show you a couple of news videos. Here we go. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And thank you guys so much for being here. By the way, if you're listening to this video, do us a favor and please click that thumbs up. It helps share this story. It brings more attention and notifies YouTube to let more people come check this video out. So hit that thumbs up if you would, please. Let's get it.
Tonight we're out here to celebrate the life of my 2-year-old niece who was tragically taken from us. So we are gathered here to do a candlelight in remembrance of her. She had the craziest laugh and smile. Like, she just knew she was a spoiled diva. She knew my sister, her mom, would do anything for her. Anytime she was in trouble or she wanted something, she was running to her mama. And my sister would make sure that she got whatever that she wanted. It's definitely a piece of quiet. It's just so quiet in the house. Like,
you said turn the sound down? Hold on, is it too loud?
It's definitely a piece of quiet. It's just so
Okay, the sound is not that bad. I will turn it down some though if it's a little bit too loud for you. Okay, so this should be better.
you could feel it. Like, I don't know how to explain the feeling, but it's just like, you know something's not there. You know something is missing.
Police just impacted so many. Police impacted everybody she met, she made smile. So to think that smile, I'm not gonna see that smile on her face, on the picture, but not on her face. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe police gone. I just can't believe it.
It definitely is amazing to have community support and love and the condolences and the prayers, and but I can say this is going to be a long journey. So it is nice right now, but 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, when there's another news headlines, we're still going to be grieving. So I guess that's when the support and the condolence will actually matter in that time, not when it first happens.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to just do these one by one. It's, like I said, it's gonna look a little funky, but we'll get through it.
Prosecutors have formally charged a man with shooting and killing his 2-year-old daughter. Inte Parks faces murder charges in the death of Khalees Brewer.
Target 8 investigator Ken Colker is live in studio now with what we've learned about the charges. Ken.
Brennan Sue, the Wyoming police chief, called it one of the most tragic examples of gun violence she's seen in her career. But police still aren't saying what led up to that. They do say it was not an accident. 26-year-old Parks, already on parole, is charged with open murder, discharging a firearm in a building causing death, being a felon in possession of a firearm, and 2 counts of felony firearm. The shooting that killed Khalees happened Wednesday evening in Parks' upstairs apartment on Meyer Avenue between Porter and 28th Streets in Wyoming.
I cannot believe it.
Khalees' mom, Cambria Brewer, told News 8 that she had dropped off her daughter at the apartment on Monday for a visit and was planning to pick her up Wednesday evening. But before that could happen, police say Parks shot and killed the girl, then shot himself. He was hospitalized and is expected to survive. A paternity test confirmed that Parks was the father of the girl. A judge had ordered him to pay $167 a month in child support in December. The girl's mom told News 8 yesterday that he was upset about that, but not enough to make her worried about Khalees' safety.
Never. That's why I allowed her to go there, because I never in a million years really expected him to hurt our child. I would never think in a million years that he would do this. It's no indication at all. Because if it was, I would have never let her go over there.
Parks was on parole after his release from prison on a 2012 armed robbery conviction. He also has a history of weapons violations and domestic violence. At his arraignment today, a judge denied bond. The Kent County Sheriff's Department is now responsible for guarding him in the hospital until he recovers and is moved to the jail. Is this like a cowardly thing to do?
Beyond cowardly. Anybody who kills kids are beyond cowardly to me. Anybody who kills kids.
Parks is expected in court February 23rd for a probable cause hearing, then March 2nd for a preliminary hearing to determine if he'll stand trial. If convicted of the murder or shooting causing death charges, he faces life in prison.
All right, let's try to keep going. I have a couple more videos here. So until I can get this thing working again, we'll just kind of do them just one by one.
First at 6, new tonight. A grieving mother says it was her 2-year-old daughter's father who killed that little girl last night at a home in Wyoming. Police say the gunman shot little Colindres Brewer, then turned the gun on himself, though he survived.
News 8's Ken Colker sat down with the girl's mom this afternoon. Ken?
Brian and Sue, Colindres Brewer's mom says she couldn't get herself to answer the phone when police called her yesterday. She handed it to her mom.
As soon as I heard them on the phone, I knew, like, I just was running and screaming.
She had dropped off her 2-year-old daughter on Monday for a visit at the home of the girl's father and says she was planning to pick her up Wednesday evening, the night of the shooting.
Trying to get a hold of them, I'm not getting an answer. And so I'm like, I have to go pick her up, I was gonna go at 7. I got the call at 6:15.
Police say the gunman shot and killed Colindres in an upstairs apartment on Meyer Avenue in Wyoming, then turned the gun on himself. He survived. A woman who lives in the downstairs apartment says she was in bed when she heard the gunfire.
Came through my ceiling.
What came through the ceiling?
The bullet. Yeah.
The bullet came through your ceiling?
While I was watching a movie, yeah.
Missed her by a foot, she says. Colindres' mom says the baby's father is the shooter.
I cannot imagine. Like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I cannot believe it. Like, yeah, I can't believe it.
Court records show it took a paternity test to prove the suspect was Colindres' father. In December, the court ordered him to pay $167 a month for child support.
He was mad about child support, but I'm just telling him, like, child support don't matter.
But not mad enough, she says, to raise any suspicions.
That's why I allowed her to go there, because I never in a million years really expected him to hurt our child.
He is on parole after his release from prison for armed robbery. Colindres' mom spoke today as she fed her 2-week-old daughter.
She looks like Colindres when Colindres was younger.
She had only recently started teaching Colindres about her inner beauty, even installed a mirror just for her.
I just was trying to install in her, Colindres is beautiful, Colindres is beautiful. Yeah. So anytime she looked in that mirror, she's smiling.
Anybody who met her,
yeah.
Her light was so bright, almost too bright for this world, I feel like. Like the world wasn't ready for her.
Police are calling this a murder-attempted suicide. The suspect who survived is expected to be arraigned tomorrow. Tonight, the family is mourning their loss at a vigil in front of the home where it happened. The family expects to start a GoFundMe page to help pay for Colindres' funeral.
Oh man, yes, they are expected to open up a GoFundMe, because why have life insurance when you could just have GoFundMe, right? But, you know, people tend to say that I'm wrong for even bringing that up. I didn't see a GoFundMe yet, but like I said, I'm sure there will be one coming up here pretty soon. But there's a couple other news videos out there. Like I said, we're having some technical difficulties right now, so I'm not going to even play the rest. But I think you guys kind of get the gist of this story. But again, little girls learn so much from their fathers, which is why it's so important that we choose a good father as an example for these little girls. And what does that tell a little girl? The fact that her felon father, like, still in trouble, still doesn't know how to behave, it has a long criminal history. This is what you're supposed to model yourself after in order. And I want y'all to think about this. Because little girls are naturally supposed to find what type of man they like based on the type of man that their father is. They first learn love from their fathers. Fathers are so important and play a crucial role in these little girls' lives. Which is also why I say hashtag when you date thugs, you date death. Because all you're going to do is when you produce children by thugs and have your children around thugs, that's going to continue to perpetuate that cycle. And that cycle will never end. And next thing you know, it's going to meet you at your front door. So I want you to also think about this. That neighbor almost lost her life, or even if she has children in her apartment, that stray bullet could have killed them as well. She was lucky. She said it missed her by feet. Very, very close to hitting her. So it could have also cost her her life. What we can't do is we can't just look at our own personal situations and just say, well, my life is good. I'm not going to worry about everybody else. You know why you can't? because they're going to turn around if they don't have any value in themselves, and it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your loved ones, and you're going to be looking up saying, woe is me, when we could all band together to try to fix this thing. We have to start having more honest conversations about how we bring children to this world and who we have our children with. It's one thing if you're single and don't want to have kids and then date these dangerous ass individuals. Oh, you found the GoFundMe? If you did, please email it to me. I haven't found one yet. If you have the GoFundMe, I could look it up real quick. If y'all have it, email me at theafcmatters@gmail.com. I could try to look it up real quick while we are here. So let me see if I can find it. See what we can do here. I would not be surprised if it's already here. Yep. Found it. Wow. That did not take long. The GoFundMe is indeed here. We refuse to have life insurance, but we'll throw up a GoFundMe in a heartbeat, won't we? So this GoFundMe was set up by Sharday Coleman, who's the organizer, Fund Funeral Expenses. So they need $10,000 in funeral expenses. They've collected $11,800 so far in 2 days. But it says, I'm fundraising to cover the funeral expenses for my niece, Khalees, who was tragically murdered on February 9th at the hands of her father. Khalees had the brightest smile and adventurous spirit. She impacted so many in her short time on earth. This is something no family plans for. Why would any family plan for death when you have GoFundMe, right? What's the point of having life insurance when you can just open up a damn GoFundMe? You don't have to plan at all for that, right? I guess that would completely defeat the purpose of having life insurance. So if you don't want to have life insurance, if you don't want to be responsible for the inevitable that's going to happen to each and every one of us, none of us knows the day, the time, or the hour that we will pass away, because it will happen to all humans, then I guess you could just set up a GoFundMe and hope that society will pay for it if they hear your story. But here's the thing that I keep trying to remind people. Let me take this down. And let me remind people why I continue to put this message out there. There are dozens of stories just like Khalees's. Dozens of stories that are happening each and every day. So many stories that are happening, I can't keep up. I try to do 4 or 5 stories per live stream and still get bombarded with 20 or 30 that I couldn't even do. So I want y'all to think about, you might hear about Khalees's story, you might hear about some of these other stories, but what about the other children, their stories that don't hit the news coverage, that don't come across my email address? What are those families supposed to do? They don't have any savings, just like these people didn't. They don't have a plan, just like these people didn't. They weren't expecting tragedy, just like nobody's expecting tragedy to happen. And they won't be able to afford to bury their loved ones either, because nobody has a plan. And I don't think that's fair to make society feel bad and we should come out of our pockets. Like, that's not right. Everybody needs to take care of their family circles. That's the way that should work. And again, I'm going to admonish the mother. I know people might not like me doing that, but this man had a long criminal history. There is no excuse for dating somebody like him. And I keep wondering why people that shouldn't be creating children, shouldn't be parents, are the ones that everybody, like a U-Haul truck real quick. And I want y'all to ask yourself, look at this picture and understand that this man has a criminal history of robbing people and domestic violence. What is attractive about that? Somebody who's going to be whooping your ass, stealing, could potentially be bringing violence to your door. Because what about the people that he was stealing from? You don't think that he living in your house, in your bed, on your couch, playing your PlayStation, and somebody decide to come spray up the house, come spray up grandma's house, because you decided to house a thug, somebody who has no future and shouldn't be allowed to be around children. These choices come with dire consequences, and I think that I provided a lot of solutions here. Bring children into this world unless you're a financial plan for the children without having life insurance for the children. All of these things are solutions if you want to look at it that way. But again, this is a very tragic thing. This is a beautiful little girl, and this little princess deserves a comment. If you feel like I'm saying, let me stop saying that. If you believe that I'm saying something wrong, tell me why. Tell me what I said that is factually inaccurate, okay? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this story is coming out of Nevada, and it's going to have some details that are not going to sit well with your sensibilities. And this story actually made its rounds quite a bit. So some people have already heard about this story, but if you haven't, I'm going to give you some details. But if you can't handle my opinion or the details, that's your disclaimer that you might need to exit the video. But a widowed Nevada mother whose 4-year-old son was found dead in a garage freezer claims that she was held captive by her boyfriend and son's accused killer and forced to endure months of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. That's what the mom is claiming as far as her story, how her son ended up in this situation. The woman, whose name is being withheld per the request of her attorney, says she spent most of her 11-month relationship with Brandon Lee Toslin, who is 35 years old. Let me see if I can get mom's boyfriend on the screen. Toslin is this guy here on the left. That man looks like somebody tossed him in a trash can. Toslin is 35 years old, and she spent most of the relationship locked in a room and separated from her children. The biggest thing that stands out to me so far is that the mom doesn't want her identity out there because the mom doesn't want to be judged. She don't want anybody to say anything about probably what she did wrong, right? I'm assuming that's probably what this is. But for the majority of the time, the mother was handcuffed, according to her words, bound and locked up, according to her attorney, Stephen Stubbs. Let's think about this for a minute. Locked up for 11 months, almost a year. Locked up, held against your will for 11 months, almost an entire year. Now, I know we have a lot of ladies who listen to my video that are on the channel. I don't even want to draw so much of an opinion on that just yet. I want the ladies to tell me, just based on what you guys hear, what do y'all think about that? I want you to leave a comment. People will see your comment. Do y'all believe that? Or do you think it's something more to it? Do you believe it or you don't believe it? Or do you call BS? Because I definitely want to hear what you guys' opinion is on that. Because I have some thoughts, and I'm going to withhold them just for a moment. But Mr. Toslin's house was fortified with locks, window alarms, motion sensors, video cameras, gates, keyhole entrances to every room, needed to go in or out, and the windows were covered. At what point did you realize that this man was crazy? Did you do a background check? Did you just wake up this day and it was always like this? Was this a slowly but surely thing, like it built up? 11 months of this, though. I don't know. Let's keep going. Toslin also took the woman's car keys as well as control over her social media accounts and cell phone, according to KLAS, according to their reports. And I'm getting this from dailymail.com, so thank you, Daily Mail. He allegedly used her phone to text her resignation to her employer in December of 2021. She had worked as a phlebotomist, a healthcare tech collecting blood samples from patients. So she had access to leave the house. So if you left the house, unless he was at your job standing next to you and standing over you the entire time, Did you never have thank you. Somebody in the chat said it. Did you never have access in 11 months to call police? And then it led up to this, which ended up causing the death of your son. The suspected killer faces 2 kidnapping charges and an additional charge of open murder in the death of 4-year-old Mason Dominguez, who was the little boy. Tosselin was arrested Tuesday and jailed in protective custody after police found Dominguez's remains in a freezer at the Northwest Las Vegas home shared by the couple. Investigators believe the boy's body had been kept in the icebox for at least 10 weeks. Almost 3 months. So you were never allowed to leave the house in 3 months. You never had access to a phone in 3 months, the internet in 3 months, never saw your family or friends in 3 months, never was at work for 3 months. Your son was murdered in this time frame. But I see why you would want to hide your identity, right? Don't want anybody to say anything bad about you, because that's the most important thing. Apparently, protecting the mother is more important than protecting the kids. I get it. His public defender by the name of Scott Coffey told reporters Thursday invited a competency review. It's just part of it, I guess, because they're going to try to claim he's crazy. The mother, in her 20s, why do we even need to know that? Claims that she had not seen Dominguez since December the 11th, when Tosselin allegedly told her. According to the police arrest report, Tosselin told his girlfriend that he had taken the boy into a bedroom and locked him inside with him for several days. The mother was blocked from seeing Dominguez, and she reportedly did not know the whereabouts of her toddler and believed the child was possibly deceased. He later told Freedom. The report noted that Tosselin never reported the boy's death to police or paramedics. The mother told police that she had been abused by Tosselin and was not allowed to leave the house alone or enter the garage. Stubbs said the mother knew Tosselin as an acquaintance of her late husband and father of her children who had passed in January of 2021 of a respiratory illness, aged 29. She, Dominguez, and her daughter, aged 7, moved into Tosselin's house in March of 2021 and were quickly met with abuse, according to the lawyer. Brandon Tosselin and the victim's mother moved into his house in March of 2021, and Mr. Tosselin proceeded to slowly and methodically exercise more and more control over the family until they were trapped, her attorney told the TV station. He claimed the woman and her children were often locked in separate rooms of the home and that she was frequently handcuffed. When police arrested Tosselin on Tuesday, initially on the suspicion of kidnapping, they found a handcuff attached to the car where the mother was sitting. Officers also found her cell phone in his custody during the arrest. Tosselin was taken into custody after his girlfriend sent a note to the school with her oldest daughters accessed them for a few moments at a time when she was handcuffed alone in the car as Mr. Tosselin dropped off or picked up the 7-year-old daughter from the gate across the street from the school, noting that she was writing the notes in December. Fearing death if she was caught, the mother was able to write notes little by little and hide them from Mr. Tosselin. 8 or 9 sticky notes were written. Then, 2 days before the rescue, Mr. Tosselin finally allowed the mother to sleep with her 7-year-old daughter, and the mother coached the daughter on what to do. The young girls and the police began surveillance of the home. Later that morning, the couple was detained and detectives searched the home. At around 4:30 p.m., they found Dominguez's body in a freezer in the garage. Police said that they also found a hole dug in the backyard that they believe was intended to serve as a makeshift grave for the toddler. And let me see if I can show you guys that picture real quick, which is this picture right here. Here's what's crazy about this picture. I don't think that they ever intended for this picture to be public, but this is a picture that was taken by a neighbor from their upstairs area. What's really going on here? And this is just absolutely just incomprehensible. The family is very grateful to school officials and law enforcement that rescued them. Brandon Toslin is a monster. The mother and daughter victims are grateful that their captivity is over. They are traumatized by these horrifying events and overwhelmed with grief for the loss of their 4-year-old son and brother. Meanwhile, Toslin's public defender is seeking a mental health evaluation to determine if the suspected killer is fit to stand trial. That's the first thing we'll look into, and if he's able to go forward with the court proceedings, Coffey told Las Vegas Sun on Monday after Toslin was denied bail. So he got no bail. The judge ordered Toslin to remain jail pending another court hearing on Monday. Prosecutor Richard Scow told the judge that the kidnapping and murder case against Toslin will be consolidated at that time. Coffey said he had not yet spoken with his client, but believes his apparent spectrum of mental health concerns may play into this case. The defense attorney also added that they had not yet reviewed the evidence collected by police. But let me give you guys the fair usage. I'll only be able to play a couple of these news videos because we're having a little technical difficulty, but I'll do as best as we can. Here we go. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Now, I'm not sure exactly how the boy died. They just know that they found him in a freezer, so we don't have that information just yet, but I'm pretty sure we'll find out here once the court proceedings start happening. But if you guys are watching this video, do me a favor and please click that thumbs up. It'll help share this video and let more people know that we're live. So I do know we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. The video is going to be a little bit out of sync, but let's do what we can. Here we go. Let's get it.
Tragedy just gripping the entire community. Police say Mason was killed by his mother's boyfriend.
His body was found, and Alyssa, it's certainly been a very emotional week for loved ones and also neighbors right there.
Oh, Todd, absolutely. And you can see a memorial has started to grow. You can imagine it was a very emotional night, more so after we learned new details surrounding his death.
It's heartbreaking. It's very sad. Or imagine somebody else hurting my kids in such a way to where you don't get to see them again. So it's just, yeah, it's hard.
Now, police have told us that baby Mason's body was found in a freezer. They believe he was placed there back in December. But last night, our crews discovered this in the backyard of their home. That is an 8-foot deep hole. A neighbor telling us the hole appeared overnight in the past month or so, but they didn't think much of it until news broke that the child's body had been discovered on Tuesday. Metro now investigating that hole as a possible grave. The man accused of doing this, 33-year-old Brandon Toslin, was in a relationship with the boy's mother. Police say she told them that her son became ill back on December 11th. She said Toslin took her son into the master bedroom, barricaded the door and refused to let her see him. Weeks later, he told her she could not see Mason because his, quote, freedom would be taken away. Now, we also know that no attempt to call police or medical was made. Choslin expected to appear in court this morning. He's facing 2 charges of kidnapping as well as an additional murder charge. We will be in the courtroom and we'll bring you the very latest on this case, both on air and online. Reporting live in East Las Vegas, I'm Melissa Bethencourt.
Alyssa, thank you so much, and we're continuing to follow this tragic story. You can see the timeline of what happened and read more details from that arrest report. Just head to ktmv.com/child death investigation.
All right, I'm going to try to get through these. I'm going to play one more video real quick. I'm going to give you guys the timeline video because I know it's going to be a little bit out of sync, so I do apologize, but we'll get through this. Technical issues happen, so here we go.
Trisha and Dave, I spoke to the attorney who was representing Dacia Maldonado, the mother of the 4-year-old Mason Dominguez, who was found dead in the freezer. This is how the mom tells him the whole thing went down. I want to take you back to January of last year. That is when Dacia Maldonado's husband, Eli Dominguez, died. Now we progress a little bit more forward in this story. Brandon Toslin was a friend of Eli Dominguez. He comforted Dacia Maldonado after she lost her husband. Their friendship then turned into a romantic relationship, control of the family, until they were trapped. The attorney says Dacia is locked in a room and separated from her children. And that was right there in December 2021 when Mason Dominguez also went missing. Dacia Maldonado and daughter Riley Dominguez were held captive at the door and refused to let her see him. The attorney says the house was like a fortress. He had locks, window alarms, motion sensors, and other security protection to prevent them from escaping. The attorney says he took over all her accounts and cut communication with their family. He says during the captivity, there was never a time the victim could flee with her children. Most of the time, the family was locked in separate rooms. Whenever Toslin took Maldonado in the car, he handcuffed her to the armrest, even when taking her daughter to school, until February 20th. Her daughter, Riley, eventually gave her a note to take to school and hand to her teacher. Then, on February 22nd of 2022, which was this Tuesday, Dacia Maldonado and Riley Dominguez were rescued. Brandon Toslin was arrested. Mason Dominguez was found dead inside of a freezer. Toslin, the 33-year-old, has now been charged with both kidnapping and murder. He was arrested on Tuesday after police were dispatched to his home in East Las Vegas.
All right, Abel, you actually talked to a psychologist about this case and domestic abuse in general. What did they have to say to you?
Yeah, most certainly, Dave and Trish. I talked to Dr. Michelle Paul, and she tells me that domestic abuse is something that is terrible, especially for these youngsters at such a young age. It is so difficult for them to take that in and to go through something like this, which is why it's so critical that many of you in the community keep your eyes peeled for some signs. And she says, if you see these little ones with those bruises on their arms, or if they're acting different in any shape, way, or form, or if they're isolating themselves from other groups, make sure you're going up to them, you're talking to them, and you're asking them, hey, are you okay? Because it's instances like this that we are trying to avoid, not only throughout the valley, but throughout the entire country.
Don't understand. Yeah, all right.
Definitely.
Thanks so much,
I'll send it back to you too.
All right. Brave little girl for handing that
I'm
note to
telling
a
you.
teacher. Well, this story is still developing, and for the very latest, including the timeline and arrest report, just go to our website at ktmv.com/child death investigation.
So, all right, so let me say this. Let me give my closing thoughts, because this is the part where people might not agree with where I'm coming from. I just don't believe that this mother had no access to leave, no access to say something sooner, to wait until it gets this bad. Like, it progressively got bad, and next thing you know, you look up and you're handcuffed and there are locks everywhere. I just don't believe that. And here's the thing. Background checks are so key. Like, I don't know if this man had much of a history or not, but that's usually a good key indicator that you could check that and see if a person has a pretty bad background or whatever the case is. But there are always red flags and yellow flags, and I always try to tell people that the way that you're talked to, the way that people behave, always want to be up in your phone and who you're with. And she just flat out ignored it because she loved this man say that I can't spend time with my kids, or you need to be looking at my phone, or you're going to have handcuffs and the finger at the mom. Here is a better situation provided for them. Justice system. But thank you guys so much for listening to this story with an open mind, as well as for those who were here. Just continue to make sure and support this, because we want to make sure and get more of our subscribers to see these videos, because they're not seeing them. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe we need to share a little bit better with each other. But I love you guys. Y'all have a great day. Have a great night. Thank you to those who were able to donate, to Christy, to Little Bit, to Tone of Voice, to Naya, our channel members. Thank you to all of our moderators with the blue wrenches. Thank you to those who are on Patreon, and thank you to our green channel members. I love you all. Leave a comment in the comment section. Have a great day. All right. Peace.
Check out this wonderful organization that I'm proud to be a part of. It's called Bags for Kids, BAGS4KIDS.org. And check out their website. They really help a lot of kids in foster care, giving them a permanent piece of luggage and also a lot of items that they might need so that they feel that they belong, which they do. So go to the website, bags4kids.org. So go for it. It's a great place, and they're doing great work.
Exclusive new products that you will only see on my website at www.sayitwithchess.com. These products are made special by my mother, Keyline Designs. The hoodie blankie, the face mask, as well as the 4-in-1 African head wrap. Now the way it works, it is a reversible bonnet. It has a headband that you can wear alone. It has a matching face mask as well. Please be sure to go over to our website and check out these nice new products that you will not find anywhere else.
What's going on, guys? This your boy, DJ Just J with Just Down TNT, and I am your humble host of the AFC Podcast. And people ask me all the time, what is the AFC Podcast? This is a platform for us to have open and candid conversations about children who are being taken advantage of by people who are in charge of protecting them. So sometimes we discuss the latest things going on in the news, but we advocate for children first. I get so many emails and comments from people that love what I do, and I want to continue to keep bringing content that matters to YouTube. And I would like to thank you in advance for your consideration to contributing to my platform. You can help support this channel by way of the links that are in the description box of each and every video. And also, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. I would like to thank you again and welcome to the AFC Podcast, where we advocate for children first. We'll see you guys on the next stream. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not a newscaster. This is not a news station. I am not here to deliver the news. I'm not here to be gentle, giving my commentary. I am not here to be on any race of people's side. I do not hate my own skin color, nor my daughter's mother. I do not hate to the murder and abuse of children. I want to encourage more people to dedicate their time, energy, and focus onto the children. I want to encourage people to change their behavior, and I give many examples of why they should change their behavior. We have already saved many lives, and I believe that we can save a lot more lives with the support of our AFC platform. So please, don't get lost in how I convey a message. just get the message. All right, this is your boy DJ Just J. Signing off. Holla at me. Peace.